Hi, my name is Greg Hensley and I'm with Stone Edge Surfaces, and what we're going to show you today is a full overlay application starting from job prep, explanation, all the way through application to finalization. And I hope that we are able to show you a simplistic, user-friendly way to do overlays and create a natural looking flagstone textured surface with maybe a wood border. Okay, so today we're going to talk a little bit about job preparation. And if you're outside, you want to make sure that you cut all shrubbery back, make sure you get the leaves back, make sure the grass is cut back. You don't want any debris to really have an easily way to get onto your surface when you're trying to apply an overlay. You can keep a leaf blower with you in case some debris does get on there, and you can blow that away. If it's leaves and it's a windy day, sometimes you may pick them off as you're actually stamping. But do make sure you cut back the shrubbery and rake everything back so that you have an ease to get around the area to be able to work and to create a customer's substrate as they want. If you're inside, you may be masking off around the walls. The baseboards may be coming off. A nice tool to use is tape and drape that you can tape along the wall. If you're doing a 1/4 inch inside, just tape it around 3/8 of an inch high all the way around the wall area, and then drape the cellophane material up and tape it off real quickly. If you're outside and you're doing something similar, you may want to use a 77 3M adhesive spray to contact onto the brick and then use this. It'll help it stick a lot easier. But do make sure that you're lower on the substrate surface. Along with masking off, you want to make sure that you put a notation and let yourself know after application where every control joint and expansion joint was prior to your application so that you can re-honor those after the fact. That is key. Whenever we do a Stone Edge overlay system, you honor all control joints and expansion joints by any means possible. Whether you mark them on the outside of the slab prior to application, maybe you put fishing line down into the actual slab control joint, or cut them after the fact by having the marks on the outside and then resaw cutting through with a skill saw with a diamond blade with some tape on the pad so that it doesn't leave scratches on the overlay as well. An angle grinder with a diamond blade just to make sure you re-chase back through is key. Again, you have to always honor control and expansion joints, no matter if it's interior or exterior. They're there for a reason. It's there to give the concrete an area for it to crack and move. That's why we have codes for the amount of expansion joints or control joints per linear feet of driveway and surface area. So even if you're going over a concrete pad that may not have any control joints, please look for code in your area and apply the proper control joints needed for that overlay application. Hi, it's Greg Hensley again with Stone Edge Surfaces. And today we're going to be doing an overlay application, and I want to talk a little bit about the tools that's going to be needed for that. Here we have a gauge rake. And as you can see on the gauge rake, it has pins that gauge the thickness of the material. And once the material is laid down on the surface area, you'll put the gauge rake down, you'll put good pressure down on the gauge rake, and then gauge the material back. That leaves a perfect film of 3/8 of an inch of material to be able to be stamped and carved at a later time. You could have used a different cam on the outside. This is a number 6 3/8, a number 4 1/4. You could have put on there to create a little bit thinner application. Okay. We also have other styles of gauge rakes, which are also called screed rakes. These have pins on them that set the thickness. The difference between those and what we're using over here is you have to set each pin accordingly. I like the Midwest rake where you just have the 2 cams on the outside. The biggest thing that you want to be careful for is when you're using one like this with the cam on the outside, is that when you're screeding back, you see how I go off the edge of the sidewalk or driveway, and I may leave a film of material, but I don't have any thickness for stamping. So be careful of that. Make sure that you're running along the side and not off of the actual surface area, because you can see how thin that it gets and you'll have no room for stamping on that side. So keep your pins on, screed back, and you'll always stay consistent with thickness. Once you screed your material on, Then we'll go to our concrete smoother, because you're going to have lines that the gauge rake created once you applied the material. So we're going to use a smoother like this to smooth the material off. There's another smoother also made by Midwest Brake. That other smoother I was using was made by Craft Tools. This is a blue steel, no burn. The other I was using was just stainless. And this does the same thing. It just smooths the product off. You can see how I'm keeping the pitch low. Okay? And this will show up a little bit more when we actually apply the material here in a few minutes. And then you'll be able to see how we actually finish the material off. Some other tools that we're going to be using in the overlay application are some regular concrete trowels. You may be using to finish off in square areas. Some people like to use them to create corners on sidewalks so that you can easily get your material in there without slopping a huge amount over and having a lot of waste. Finishing off edges. Okay, you may use a pull trowel to go along the edge just to finish off lightly. And this will show up when we actually do the overlay application. You may use a margin trowel to get around conduit or piping or poles or things like that, so that you can easily get in behind those areas and flatten them out so you don't have big chunks of material sitting up in behind electrical conduit or something like that that may be near a wall surface. So some people would like to have a little border to go up to. Maybe they're doing an inlay on the interior part of an actual driveway. Maybe they're not doing the entire thing, or they're going from one slab to the next, and they'd like to have the height where they can stop and start in different places from a control joint to control joint. So some people like to use weather stripping. And once you open that weather stripping up, I know that I'm going to be going 3/8 of an inch. So this is a 5/16 by 3/8 of an inch high. And once we have the actual weather stripping off, you can take and actually put down and create yourself a border just like that. Okay? And so therefore that gives you a border that you can put up next to a control joint, so that you can actually go up next to a control joint, stop and start in different places, and you're not slopping the material over. You don't have to have somebody holding a trowel right next to you. And it's just a nice ease of application for individuals to, I call it kind of cheating a little bit, but it makes the user-friendliness level go way up. So again, my name is Greg Hensley, and now we're going to go on to the primer application. So I want to explain to you today, we're going to be using a 1 gallon container of Primer 100. You're welcome to cut this up to 1/3 with water for ease of roll-on application, so that you can put it on in the most thin manner possible, so that we don't get a thickness of material that can work up into our overlay and cause it to maybe flash off or false set too soon. We want as much workability and user-friendly time as we can possibly have for application and stamping. So we're going to take the Primer 100 used today in 1 gallon. We also have Primer 100 in a 5 gallon. And we also have Primer 110, which is a dry formulation that you can add 1-to-1 water to powder by volume to create an adhesive product to roll on vertically or horizontally in the same manner by which we do the 100. So now we're going to pour our Primer 100 into a larger container from the 1 gallon, just to make it for ease of roll on and get our roller down the actual container so we can engulf it in and be able to roll on fairly easy. So I've already cut the Primer 100 by 1/3 with water, just to make it a little easier to roll on. So as you can see, I'm just going to be putting on a thin manner of the actual Primer 100. You can stretch it out just like if you were stretching paint. Make sure you dissipate any big foamy areas. Really stretch out the Primer 100 as far as you can. As long as there's a minute amount under the product, that's enough adhesion to crystallize the overlay to the substrate surface area and have a great bond application for future and longevity of adhesion of the product.